One around? Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Mr. Pad Paramahansa Buddhika Ashtottara to the Srimad Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jaya Mr. Pad Paramahansa Buddhika Ashtottara to the Srimad Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavini ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. On this 20th day of February, 2023 in San Diego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are in chapter 12 entitled Devotional Service, and we're on text 12 on page 521. In most of your books. They may have a book. Go ahead. Did you find it? Because there's some books that have different. I think we should bury those books. Okay. Okay, so we do word by word first. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnanad dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma bhala tyagas tyagach chantir anantaram shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnana dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma palatyagas tyagat chantiranantaram shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnana dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma palatyagas tyagat chantiranantaram shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnana dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma palatyagas tyagat chantiranantaram. Go ahead, Ross. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnana dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma palatyagas tyagat chantiranantaram. Go ahead, Manora. Jneo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnana dhyanam vishishyate jnana tyagas tyagat chantiranantaram. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnana dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma palatyagas jnana tyagam anantaram. Anyone over here? Go ahead. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj vishishyate dhyanat karma palatyagas tyagat chantiranantaram. Okay, you got the page? 521.
Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj
Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj
jnana dhyanam vishishyate
jnana dhyanam vishishyate
dhyanat karma palatyagas
dhyanat karma palatyagas
tyagat chantir anantaram.
tyagat chantiranantaram. He's in Portugal. He's looking in from Portugal.
Yes, I am.
All right, I'll read the synonyms by myself. Read along. Do you want? Oh, please go ahead. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj. Dhyanat karma palatyagas. Tyagat chantiranantaram. Shreya, better, he certainly, jnanam, knowledge, abhyasat, than practice, jnana, than knowledge, dhyanam, meditation, vishishyate, is considered better. Dhyanat, than meditation, karma palatyagaha, renunciation of the results of fruit of action. Tyagat, by such renunciation, shantihi, peace, anantaram, thereafter. Translation. Krishna says to Arjuna, if you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. Purport. As mentioned in the previous verses, there are two kinds of devotional service: the way of regulative principles and the way of full attachment in love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those who are actually not able to follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, it is better to cultivate knowledge, because by knowledge one can be able to understand his real position. All right. Who's playing the drum? Is it upstairs?
I saw a couple of police go out. They might be actually out in the courtyard.
Out in the courtyard. Manoram, can you just tell them that it's leaking in and they can... Hare Krishna.
Or the lounge, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Gradually, knowledge will develop to the point of meditation. By meditation, one can be able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by a gradual process. In the cultivation of knowledge, there are processes which make one understand that one himself is the Supreme. And that sort of meditation is preferred if one is unable to engage in devotional service. If one is not able to meditate in such a way, then there are prescribed duties, as enjoined in the Vedic literature, for the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, which we will find in the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. But in all cases, one should give up the result or fruits of labor. This means to employ the result of karma for some good cause. In summary, to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal, there are two processes. One process is by gradual development, and the other process is direct. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the direct method, and the other method involves renouncing the fruits of one's activities. Then one can come to the stage of knowledge, then to the stage of meditation, then to the stage of understanding the Supersoul, and then to the stage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One may take either the step-by-step process or the direct path. The direct process is not possible for everyone. Therefore, the indirect process is also good. It is, however, to be understood that the indirect process is not recommended for Arjuna, because he is already at the stage of loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. It is for others who are not at this stage, for them the gradual process of renunciation, knowledge, meditation, and realization of the Supersoul and Brahman should be followed. But as far as the Bhagavad Gita is concerned, it is a direct method that is stressed. Everyone is advised to take to the direct method and surrender under the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance to him and all members of Sri Parampara. Where is it? She's still out there?
I'm thinking that maybe she told them to move and they moved and it's somewhere we can still hear it. That's what I put together. But yeah, she's not out there.
Can you try to find it?
I will do my best.
Tell them that it's not appropriate. There's one place they can go, and that's the lounge. Is there somebody in there? If they close the door in the lounge, they won't go in. Who's living in there? Who's it? A Russian guy. Hare Krishna. All right. Om Jnana Timirandasya. I think I did that already. Okay, so Krishna is explaining the process of pure devotional service. And he's been through various stages here, where he starts out with Arjuna, saying, just fix your mind on me. Right? This is way back in text 6 to 7. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I have the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Oh, Krishna, Krishna. So this is the highest process. This whole chapter is called devotional service. But Krishna is also saying after this, that after 8 is the basic same thing. Fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you will live in me always, without a doubt. But if you can't, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, and this way develop a desire to attain me. But if you can't even practice that, the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. If you can't do that, then try to act by giving up the results of your work and try to be self-situated. So this is the idea, is that even if Krishna is making it very easy to enter into devotional service. He's saying that just try to give up. Don't be a selfish person. Don't be a demon, but try to be generous. And eventually you'll give something to the devotee and you'll get some agyata sukriti that way. So then the verse we had today, verse 12. But now he's going to come, the last part of the chapter, to the qualities that one should have as a devotee. These are qualities that those who are serious about devotional service should cultivate. And at the end of each verse or pair of verses, he says, such a devotee who has these qualities is very dear to me. Yomad bhakta same priyaha. So let's go on to text 13 and 14. Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo narahankara samadukka sukhakshami santushtak satatam yogi yatatma dhunanishchayaha mayarpitamano buddhir yomad bhakta same priyaha. What did they say? You couldn't find them?
No, we couldn't find them either, but we shouted out, and I think it was Mukunda who said he'd go look.
Maybe they're upstairs in that room outside of Janardhan's room.
But when we go to those stairs, we can hardly hear them, and we shouted up those stairs, and we can't go up the stairs.
You can't go up the stairs. Okay. All right. Let's just pray.
Is there a basement that we don't know about?
No. All right. One who is not envious but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Purport. Coming again to the point of pure devotional service, the Lord is describing the transcendental qualifications of a pure devotee in these two verses. A pure devotee is never disturbed in any circumstances, nor is he envious of anyone, nor does a devotee become his enemy's enemy. He thinks, this person is acting as my enemy due to my own past misdeeds, so it is better to suffer than to protest. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.8, it is stated, Tatte nukampam susamikshamano bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. When a devotee is in distress or has fallen into difficulty, he thinks that it is the Lord's mercy upon him. He thinks, thanks to my past misdeeds, I should suffer far, far greater than I am suffering now. So it is by the mercy of the Supreme Lord that I am not getting all the punishment I am due. I am just getting a little by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is always calm, quiet, and patient. Despite many distressful conditions, a devotee is also always kind to everyone, even to his enemy. Nirmama means that a devotee does not attach much importance to the pains and trouble pertaining to the body, because he knows perfectly well that he is not the material body. He does not identify with the body, therefore he is freed from the conception of false ego and is equipoised in happiness and distress. He is tolerant, and he is satisfied with whatever comes by the grace of the Supreme Lord. He does not endeavor much to achieve something with great difficulty. Therefore, he is always joyful. He is a completely perfect mystic because he is fixed in the instructions received from the spiritual master, and because his senses are controlled, he is determined. He is not swayed by false arguments because no one can lead him from the fixed determination of devotional service. He is fully conscious that Krishna is the eternal Lord, so no one can disturb him. All these qualifications enable him to fix his mind and intelligence entirely on the Supreme Lord. Such a standard of devotional service is undoubtedly very rare, but a devotee becomes situated in that stage by following the regulative principles of devotional service. Furthermore, the Lord says that such a devotee is very dear to him, for the Lord is always pleased with all his activities in full Krishna consciousness. Okay, so this is a list of qualities. We'll continue to the end of the chapter. And after each verse, Krishna says, as I mentioned, that those who cultivate these qualities and manifest them are very dear to him, which is, after all, what we're aiming at. We're trying to become dear to Krishna. And the way to do that is to make Krishna dear to us. That he responds to the devotion, to the love that we develop for him. So each of these qualities is evidence of that. So the first one here is adveshta. Now, Prabhupada's use of the word non-envious, I always have to look at it. Do we figure, well, that means I'm not jealous of anyone. I don't envy anyone else. And that's one of the meanings, but that's not the prime meaning here. Dveshta means malice, means you hate something, you know. You can hate a person, you can hate an activity, you can be very averse to it. But in this, he says, no, adveshta, you don't have any enmity or malice toward anyone. And even if they have malice toward you, this is like turn the other cheek type of thing. And Prabhupada quotes in this purport a very important verse from the prayers of Lord Brahma in the 14th chapter, 10th canto. And what he says there, what Brahma says is, Tate nukampam susamikshmano bunjana evatna kritam vipakam. Ridvag vapubhir vidadhan namaste jivete yo mukti pade sadaya bak. Very significant verse. So what does he say there? Prabhupada quotes the first line here. 2 lines. That tate anukampam susamikshmano. When anything happens to one, and in this material world, things happen that are pleasing and things happen that are not pleasing to one's mind, body, and senses. We know that. It's a world of duality. So when something happens to you, or to a devotee, pure devotee, that is unpleasant, he may have an accident, may have a disease, someone may cheat him out of something, all kinds of things can happen, right? He doesn't blame Krishna. He doesn't say, why? I've been going to temple, I've been going to church, I've been going to mosque every week regularly, and I always pray, and I try to lead a good life. Why did this happen to me? God, you're not fair. Hare Krishna. Welcome. We'll have darshan at 8:15. You're welcome to have in class. We can sit on that bench, or you can take the seats, whatever you like. But the curtains will open at 8:15. So anukampam means mercy. So the pure devotee sees everything as Krishna's mercy. If something happens that's negative, then he says, "Oh, I was due to receive much more punishment, but I only got a little bit." Generally, things could always be worse, right? He said, Krishna has minimized it, you know. And I'm so sinful in my past life. Hare Krishna. Haribol? Hello. If you like, you can speak in the lobby, because they're having a class. Okay. So, Bunjana means experience in this case. Bunjana evatna kritam vipaka means I did it myself, atna kritam. This is something I've done in my past life, or one of my past lives, that is now fructifying. I'm not going to blame Krishna for it, and I'm going to see that, oh, he's minimized it, and I'm going to, how fortunate I am, and that, therefore you serve him even more. On the other hand, something very good may happen. You may come into some money, or you get cures of a disease, whatever it may be. And in that case, you thank Krishna, oh, thank you, Krishna, you've given me facility to serve you even better. You see? So in both cases, your positive attitude toward God is enhanced. And so you go through life like that, you know? And you're serving the Lord, and if something happens that impedes that, you say, oh, Krishna's given me just a little bit of my karma. This is part of the philosophy. As soon as you enter into devotional service, you no longer are under the control just of the impersonal karmic reactions. But Krishna is monitoring and giving you what you need and what did you deserve in order to enhance your devotional service. So if you have this attitude, then it increases everything that happens to you, increases your faith in God. That's the result is. And wonderful, and the payoff is, if you can maintain this attitude and always be positive in your devotional service, you're assured of achieving Vaikuntha, of going back to Godhead. That's a Dayabhak. But Dayabhak is a phrase that's used. Yes, just one second. Make sure they have a mic available, because we're transmitting. There's many people online. Dayabhak is used to mean that someone who's going to inherit something. You know, you don't have to do it, just stay alive and you'll inherit the property. So stay alive in Krishna consciousness in this way, and you'll be going back to God at either next life or the life after, very soon. Go ahead. Is it on? You have to press it until the light goes on.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
So my question is to the former part of what you mentioned. So when we are faced with a calamity that we did not expect, a disease or an accident or something, we are kind of expected to look at the positive side of it, but saying that it could have been a lot worse, and we were shown mercy by the Lord. How do you think we as devotees should then respond to something like this when it becomes even worse, something like death?
Yeah.
How should we respond? Because I mean, for me, for example, I don't think there can be anything worse than death. So how would you recommend we deal with something like that?
Okay. Well, first of all, are you familiar with this book, the Bhagavad Gita? Okay. Yes, good. So the thing is, we're all going to face death. It's not like death, you know, is something unlucky that happens to you. It may happen now, soon, or it may happen later, but it's going to happen. So the idea is that before that happens, we want to become as Krishna conscious as possible, which means that more and more we're remembering Krishna, we're trying to serve him as much as possible. We may have our family life, and so that has to be maintained. But as far as possible, we try to remember Krishna and try to glorify him. Like you could come a million places, but you came here to hear Bhagavad Gita. So this is a service to Krishna, you see. So the idea is that the more we chant, you chant regularly also? Yes. 16 rounds? Okay. So the idea is you want to move forward to a point where you become very committed by taking initiation, you know, and you become, because we have a certain amount of time left. We were just talking about this morning, and it's obvious. We have a certain amount of time. You probably, very, very likely, have more time in your body to come than I have in mine. At 75 versus 25? 27, not bad. Good guess. But I mean, the point is that there's a certain mission that we have as spirit souls. And only in the human life can you even realize that there is that mission. And Srila Prabhupada, being a bona fide acharya, spiritual master, coming in the line, He's given us the essential knowledge by which we can mold our lives in such a way that we move forward on the path toward that goal. And realistically, you know, I myself, okay, I hope I made some progress, but I'm very assured from the Bhagavad Gita in several places, welcome, Hare Krishna, again, that nothing is lost. You know that, you know. Right at the beginning, in the second chapter, is one of my favorite verses. It's always very encouraging. I think every devotee who came across this verse while studying the Bhagavad Gita says, oh, well, that's a relief. Neha brukkamanashosti pratyabhayam navidyate. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bayat. Very encouraging verse. Krishna says, in this endeavor, sincere devotional service, there's no loss or diminution. Meaning that whatever progress you make, we may not become pure devotees, we may have so many latent desires that bring us back for another birth, but you don't lose everything. Whereas a materialist whose idea of progress is accumulating wealth, influence, whatever it may be, loses everything at death. Doesn't matter who you are. You could be Jeff Bezos, or you could be some poor guy on the street. But whatever you have, poor guy on the street loses his shopping cart with his belongings, and Bezos loses $145 billion. But whatever it is, it's gone. But your assets in Krishna consciousness are never lost. And that's why it is said, just once chanting the holy name, or coming in touch with the, what is it, sadhu sangha, sarva shastra koi, lava mata sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. This is a Bengali verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sadhu sangha, satsanga, association with real devotees, the sadhus. All the shastra declare, even a moment's association can give you all perfection. Now, it may not give it immediately, but it puts you on the right course. And once you get on the course, you don't lose. So the point is that I'm making is that we should try to be as serious as possible in this lifetime to practice devotional service and come to the point of developing our relationship with Krishna and the devotees and everything. And realizing that even if I don't succeed, we should try to succeed and become completely pure. But if not, then we'll go on in our next life and complete it. So it's not just a question of bad things happen and good things happen, because that happens to everybody. But if you're a devotee, you see these things differently. The things that happen that are good, that enhance your health or wealth, whatever it may be, are opportunities to increase your service and continue with the service. How fortunate I am. Krishna's letting me serve him even better. And bad things, things that are some disease or whatever it may be, says, all right, I'm getting some punishment from previous life, but I'm not going to blame Krishna. He's simply given me a percentage of what I was going to get. And the main thing is that I can maintain, if I maintain my Krishna consciousness, even if the worst happens and I lose this body and I go on, I'm not going to die. Nobody dies. That's the first lesson of Gita. The jayate meyate vakadachan. The soul never dies. It's never born. We're unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. It says it in 4 different ways. So I may change this body, I will change this body, but I will pray to Krishna that I get a body in my next life, in a situation that I'll be able to increase my devotion. And that's my perfection. So that's the way you maintain a positive life.
Excellent.
You know?
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. All right, so I want to go through some of these others. Adveshta savabhutanam, never envious, non-envious, non-malicious, or bear no ill toward any living being. This is Maitra Karuna. On the contrary, you're friendly with every living being. Karuna, and show mercy. Just like some insect or something, like you see in summertime, it happens all the time. You know, we have a garden out there, so little bugs crawl in here, and we're walking around Tulsi, you know, chanting our rounds. Babu, watch out, you know. And we carefully put them out into the garden and say, Hare Krishna, you know. In other words, even a little insect is a little living entity, just like we are. And we shouldn't destroy the life. We shouldn't interrupt it. We give them as much Krishna consciousness as possible. So this is a devotee, Maitra Karuna Evacha, friendly and merciful toward all. Nirmamo. Now this side, nirmamo means realizing a very basic principle of Krishna consciousness: nothing is mine. What does it Prabhupada say? Nirmama, with no sense of proprietorship. So that's right in the Upanishads. What's the first verse of Ishopanishad? Let's all chant together. Isha vashamidam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena chaktena bundita magadakasya svidhanam. Learned that earlier. So Isha vashamidam sarvam, the Isha, the Supreme Lord, He owns everything. Isha vashamidam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat, every little thing in the universe. We are entitled to our quota for maintenance, is not. But we shouldn't be greedy for more than that. You see? And that's the principle of simple living, high thinking that Prabhupada said. Because the whole idea is this principle of yukta vairagya. This was enunciated by Rupa Goswami, our great acharya, who was taught directly by Lord Chaitanya. He wrote the book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Prabhupada gave it to us in the form of a nectar devotion. So what is this yukta vairagya? You see it all around you. This temple is an example of it. So it says, anasaktasya vishayan yatarham apayunjita nirbandha krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchite. So vairagya doesn't mean exactly renunciation. It means detachment. It means not being attached. Raga means attachment, vairagya means detachment. So yukta vairagya means being detached. This verse says, anasaktasya vishayan. Vishayan are the object of the senses. It says not being attached to the object of the senses, but employing them where appropriate in the service of the Lord. This is yukta vairagya. Now what happens there is that the attachment for the object of the senses gradually is turned toward attachment toward Krishna, toward God. If you have a beautiful garden, like we cultivate, our old friend Mani Bandhani here is an experienced gardener, and when the spring comes, we'll be able to offer really nice flowers to Krishna right from our own garden. And the flowers will actually finally have some scent when we offer them. Anyway, we have wonderful we discovered a couple of years ago, we have this beautiful fig tree out here. And at a certain point, it's the fresh figs, we offer them to Krishna. It comes there's about a week or two, bowls of figs. So, we can say, all right, guys, let's have a fig feast. And we'll sit down, you'll have a fig. No. We take the figs, carefully we offer them to Krishna on the altar. And then, you honor them as prasadam. So Krishna is giving He's giving us these figs, but we're giving them and recognizing these belong to you. So this is Isha Vashamidam Samam, and it's anasakta sivishayam. It's not that we're so attached to the figs, we should be, this is such a great gift, and the tree is blessed when its figs are offered. There's a soul in every tree, and then to offer to Krishna. And then the devotees are pleased. This is Krishna consciousness. So rather than just be greedy for figs, you recognize, this is a very nice opportunity to offer to Krishna. So your attraction is being offered to Krishna. And the principle is this, is that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. He knows Anandamaya Vyasat. This is Vedanta Sutra. Anandamaya Vyasat. From his activities we can understand he's always in bliss. Even when he's killing the demons, it's just play for him. I mean, there's no chance that he's going to lose, right? It says, so it's all Ananda. We are part and parcel of Krishna. This is our natural position, to always be enjoying bliss. But let's face it, in our conditioned life, it's not that way, right? It's up and down. We try to enjoy, sometimes we're miserable. So, but if we take our pleasure in giving Krishna pleasure, don't forget we're part and parcel of Krishna, then we can always be experiencing the bliss of bhakti. And that's why you find the great devotees, they're always very upbeat, always very joyful. We saw it with Srila Prabhupada. Even in his latter days, he had various diseases, but that internal joy was there in that peace. Because he was always remembering Krishna, and whatever he was doing was a service to Krishna, glorification. It sounds, a little strange because we're so used to having our own separate little egos in our little bodies. But that's unnatural. This position of identifying with the body and thinking, now I'm old, I can't do anything anymore. No. If you are simply thinking of the Lord, glorifying Him, trying to serve Him in whatever way you can, you'll find yourself experiencing a higher pleasure that's not dependent on the externals. You can do that in any circumstance. So that's what this is. Maitra Karuna Evacha, merciful to all by wanting to give them Krishna. Near, nothing is mine, everything belongs to Krishna. Let me use it in His service as far as possible. Nirahankara, meaning not having a sense of false ego, that I am this body. Identifying oneself as what Lord Chaitanya, who's Krishna, told us we are. We can all see together. Jivera, Swarupoi, Krishnera, Nityadas. This is a very important line. The identity of every jiva, that includes all of us and the ants and everyone. They don't know it. We can know it if we study. Is to be a servant of Krishna. Krishnera tatasta shakti. We're the marginal potency. We're in between the material and the spiritual. And so we have a tendency to sometimes veer toward the material and become completely enthralled, forget all about Krishna, and try to enjoy and control. And this is our entanglement in the material world, many, 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 many births. But if we get the association of a great acharya like Prabhupada, and that's what he's giving us in these purports here, and Krishna is also speaking directly to us, then we can understand with our intelligence that that's not right. And then because of our human form of life and with the association of great souls, we can get the inspiration and the spiritual strength to, yes, turn away from the sense gratification that's keeping us bound in this world and to begin to focus on Krishna and to serve Krishna and get the higher taste, which is spiritual pleasure. And the more we cultivate that, that's wholesome. You see, that's not sense gratification. That just leads to more and more service and more spiritual pleasure until you leave this body and you go back to Godhead. And then it's the eternal life of bliss and knowledge that we've been hankering for. So this sense of not being propriety, even to the point of your own body, that's what the bowing down means. Especially the dandavats. My old friend Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu, who passed away 12 years ago. I worked with him for years on producing the Bhagavatam, finishing the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th, 11th, and 12th cantos. And then we were in close, he was a consultant, he would travel all over the world, and he had a whole school, Sanskrit school. So this principle of nirahankara, nirmamo, nirahankara, he kind of embodied that. And I remember when I was living here, one of his students from his school came to live with me. And he told me that it was such a wonderful experience studying with him. He wasn't just teaching Sanskrit, but the school was in Vrindavan, and sometimes it was very austere in the wintertime. They didn't have central heat, they didn't have hot water, And so they were taking cold showers. Imagine taking a cold shower when it's cold. That's pretty austere. But they were doing it, and they were getting absorbed in all of these Sanskrit shastras that they were studying, and they were able to find that and do that. So not identifying with the body, nirahankara, samadukak sukak shami. So being equipoised in happiness and distress. Kshami means tolerance, forgiveness. Santushta, satatam yogi. Santushta means fully satisfied within oneself. If you're always in touch with Krishna internally, then in every circumstance you can be happy. Yogi linked up, yatarma, self-controlled, dridhanishya, very determined. Mayapata manobuddhi. Here's the essential thing. The mind always fixed on me, right? And the mind and intelligence fixed on me. That enables all the other qualities to come. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. So these are great verses, and we'll go on here. We have a little time unless there's some discussion. Yeah. Okay, you got the mic. All right.
Hare Krishna. So is it that we are meant to try to cultivate these qualities so that we become more dear to Krishna, or is it that by doing devotional service we automatically get these qualities, or is it both?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it comes up a lot. These qualities naturally develop, but it also helps to know them, because prayer is so important. This idea, what are we doing when we're chanting? Prabhupada said it's actually a prayer to Radha and Krishna. Please engage me in your service. It's almost like a call of a child for its mother, And whenever I hear that, I always think of my childhood, because I grew up in Long Island, up near New York. And in the summertime, my father would take us to the beach all the time. It's just like a 10-minute drive, you know. So I remember as a child, you know, I was probably one of them. I don't recall that. But, you know, growing up 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And inevitably, on Sundays, it's very busy. And some little kid would get separated from his parents, you know. And he would be lost among all of the, you know, the other bodies and everything. So they would take the kid up. And onto they had these big stands, the lifeguards, because the people out in the ocean, you know. And they would take the kid and show the kid, you know. And the mother would come running, you know, and the kid would, you know, otherwise he'd be screaming and crying, you know. So I was thinking that when I came to Krishna consciousness, how we're like lost children. We don't know who our real father is. We're wandering around in this material world, being attracted by this, and then, you know, suffering this and all like that. So if you're calling out like, please, you know, take me back. You know, I need your shelter, and engage me in your service. Oh, Radha and Krishna, engage me in your service. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. But we can also pray for these qualities to develop. This is the kind of prayer that, you know, like Lord Chaitanya showed us how to pray. Nadanang, nadanang, nasundarim, kavitam vaja. I don't want, you know, wealth, women, followers, or prestige, none of that. I don't even want liberation. What I want is your devotional service, birth after birth. Pure devotion, ahoitaki. Now, ahoitaki is a very important word. It means unmotivated. Unmotivated is a little obscure, because we have a motivation, no material motivation. We're not praying to God, please, you know, probably this favorite phrase, please give me daily bread. No, we don't. Krishna knows what we need. But we can pray very ardently for purity, pray ardently for pure devotion. I'll give you an example of some. Lord Chaitanya gave us the perfect examples, but others that are not so clear. But I've studied some of the books, other books by Rupa Goswami, and he has these beautiful prayers. So one is in, I think this is in a book that is a summary of Krishna's Leela, Vrindavan Leela. So Bhujanga Puchandakas Buddha Kanda Chudankore Niranga Shadraganchala Brahmina Bodhna Bringa Brahme Patanga Duhitastati Banakuti Keri Priye Paraspuddha Me Mahostvaya Mukunda Shuddharati. Shuddharati, he's praying for pure love. So you wear the best of crests, a crown of perfect. Now this is the thing about prayer, I noticed, Vandanam. In the prayers in the Bhagavatam, often there'll be 3 elements. One is surrender, namaste. Like Kunti's prayers begins with the word namaste and ends with the word namaste. She had like 10 or 20 prayers, but you know. And there's glorification. Surrender, bow down, in honor, glorification, and then the request. There's always a request, the 3 elements. So first there's this glorification. You wear the best of crests, a crown of perfect peacock plumes. Your dancing glances stung the bees meandering midst the blooms. You relish love play in a cottage by Kalindi's shore. O Krishna, may pure love for you be mine forevermore. And you'll find that is the final prayer that devotees, that pure devotees are praying for. They're always coming to the point of, like Bhishma Dev. Lord Bhishma Dev is well known as a great fighter, right? In the Battle of Kurukshetra. It's famous. So finally, Arjun actually shot all these arrows, you know. So, but he had this benediction from his father that he couldn't be killed unless he wouldn't die unless by his own will. So he's lying on this bed of arrows, means he's shot through with the arrows, and he's lying there, right? And all the great sages come, and Krishna comes by his side, you know, to hear his prayers and to bless him in the final moment. So what does he do? He starts praying. And do you want to take a seat? Anyway, please. And so what is his first prayer? I think this is the first one. He's looking at Krishna, you know. He's been waiting for him. He's keeping the soul in the body until Krishna comes, and he's right there by his side. Great Mahajan. Tribhavanakamanam tamalavanam ravikata gaura varambarang dadani and vapalalaka kulavatana damjam vijayasake ratadastume navadya. It's exactly what this prayer is. He's glorifying Krishna. Chubhavanna Kamanam, the most attractive in all three worlds. Tamala Varnam, very bluish blackish complexion like a tamal tree. Ravi Katagora, Ravi is the sun. His garments are shining brilliant like the sun. Varambalang Dadane Vapa. Allaka Kulavatananam, beautiful lotus faces encircled by those locks of shiny curly hair, you know. Vijayasake, he's the friend of the Vijay. We have so many Vijayas. The victor, that's Arjun. Vijayasake, the friend of Arjun. Ratarastamena Vaja, may my attraction be drawn to him and not be to anyone else. Here's this, you know, powerful warrior is now lying ready for death. And what is he praying for? Let me just love Krishna, this beautiful Krishna. He even remembers the gopis. Lalita Kadibalasa, how they were imitating Krishna's pastime and everything, you know. So this is what we should all aspire for, you know, that we should become so absorbed in Krishna that it doesn't matter when we leave the body, but we can fix our mind and be fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna and in our own relation with Krishna. Yes, as servants, as lovers, you know, like that. And that's the perfection of life. So these qualities help us to attain that. So we may not have them, we can pray for them and try to cultivate them, but they do develop naturally. Okay, so we've kind of run out of time. And all these verses are so important. We can finish this chapter by Wednesday night. And all these verses are describing all different qualities that make us dear to Krishna. That's the whole point. Each verse ends with that. So we'll end with one, maybe the first verse of the Shikshastika, which is like practically foundational for this whole movement in our Krishna conscious life. So we can all chant together. Chetodharpanam arjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam sheyakaida vichandrikavatadanam vidyavadhu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamita swadanam sarvatmasnaparam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to the chanting of Shri Krishna's holy names, which easily extinguishes samsara's blazing flames by polishing the lust-encrusted mirror of the heart. That chanting is the waxing moon that knows the secret art of causing the white lotus of good fortune to unfurl its petals far and wide throughout this bleak and blighted world. Of transcendental knowledge, which will take us to life's goal, the chanting of the name of Krishna is the life and soul. The ocean of ecstatic bliss floods far beyond its bounds, wherever Krishna's merciful and mystic name resounds. Indeed, whenever Krishna's names are sung in congregation, at every step one tastes a joy that knows no limitation. So hear with great attention as I earnestly request, please chant Shri Krishna's holy names and be supremely blessed. The soothing nectar of the name will bathe your consciousness, bestow pure love for Krishna, and eradicate distress. The whole movement is practically there in that one verse. So we'll explore more of that tomorrow night. Please come again. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.